What's going on, guys? I'm Tio. If you don't already know, I play live casino poker at a competitive level, and today we're out here in Muskoka. We're at Casino Rama, and let's have some fun and hop into some 2-5. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Hey guys, so we just wrapped up our session here at Rama. Fun little session, although we pretty much broke even, made 15 bucks. But we'll talk about a few hands when we're outside, so yeah, see you in a little bit. Alright guys, so we obviously had a pretty decent session. I mean, any session where you don't lose money to me is a pretty decent session. So yeah, we didn't lose any money this round. We made about 15 bucks. So hey, for a short period of time we played for about an hour and a bit, just because we were running out of time. Let's just jump right into it, and I'll give you guys a few hands. Nothing too crazy has been happening. It seems like every Rama game that we've been to so far is really passive. The guys pretty much play their hands straightforwardly, and there's not much bluffing going on, guys. The pots don't get ridiculously huge, and it seems like you really got to chisel down mostly stacks. A lot of the guys are coming in for like $100, $200, so there's not really a super deep stack play or anything like that. But yeah, we kind of just have to adjust for that and try to pick up a bunch of little pots if we can. So anyways, sorry guys, I'm getting bitten by mosquitoes here, and there's mosquitoes everywhere, so I'm gonna try to do this as quickly as I can. Alright, so we wake up with King 8 of clubs. We are on the cutoff, and there's a bunch of limps in front of us. This is early in the session, so we've played maybe about, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 hands, something like that. And we could totally raise it up here, try to squeeze, but I felt like, hey, you know what, we're on the cutoff. Let's just come along. You know, we got a King 8 of clubs. We could probably flop a flush, and if we do flop a flush draw or something like that, we have high club equity. We really want to take this hand post flop and potentially see where we're at. But all in all, we kind of want to figure out the players, because we really don't know much about any of these guys. Yeah, maybe half of them are, I would say, 40 to at least 50 plus, and I would automatically assume that these guys are usually nitty and straightforward, but hey, you never know. So anyways, we limp here with our king 8, and it goes 7 ways to the flop. The flop is king 6-2, and there's 2 hearts out there. Everybody checks to us, and this is where we decide to bet pretty sizable. We go for 30 bucks, and yeah, there's kind of no reason to go too deep into strategy about betting 30 bucks. We basically want to protect our hand and kind of see where we're at. I think we're pretty strong here with our king, and if we do get called, we definitely have to play it pretty defensively, because it is king 8, it's pretty weak. And we kind of have to, well, we probably will see bet the turn again if somebody calls and a heart doesn't come up. But it turns out that the big blind calls and then everybody else folds, and we see a turn card, and the turn is pretty sweet for us. We get an offsuit 8. That makes us 2 pair, and we have top 2. And the big blind checks. You definitely want to bet here again, and we bet 65. I would say pretty standard bet. Maybe can we bet less? Probably not, because if they're calling, I mean, hey, if they got a king, then they're probably going to call again, and they have a flush draw, which I think is most likely what they're going to have here. I mean, we're not really blocking any flush draws. We have no hearts in our hands, so it's more likely for them to have a flush draw in this case. But he folds, so hey, we take this one down, and yeah, I can't complain, guys. Can't complain. We scoop it, and yeah. So let's go on to the next one. So this time around, we wake up with pocket 8s, and we please hope that we flop a set. I mean, yeah, you do flop a set maybe 12% of the time, but maybe this time we flop it. I don't know. All right. Let's just talk about the hand. So we're in the small blind, and middle position 1 goes to 25. The button calls, and I mean, it's pretty standard for us to call here. We're deep with middle 1. I mean, we're effective in stack sizes. We're about 500 each, and I believe the button was just shy of 300, so it's pretty sizable, I would say. Yeah, we definitely don't want to fold our hand here, so yeah, we definitely call. And the big blind comes along as well, so now it's 4 ways to the flop. Let's see if we can flop an 8. Please flop an 8 or something decent. The flop comes out 9-9 jack. So where is the 9 when you need it? Like, we have pocket 9s twice, and now there are 2 9s out there. As you know, sometimes this is what happens, guys. You play all these hands, and then you have like pocket 9s the previous hand, or pocket 5s the previous hand. Nothing comes. Then the next hand is like, you know, there's a 5 out there and like 2 5s, and it's like raining 5s or whatever. Anyway, yeah, pretty easy fold in this spot. So let's just continue with the action. It goes check, so we check and the big blind checks, and the pre-flop aggressor decides to bet 45, and the button folds, and we obviously fold as well. Super dangerous board. And then the big blind now goes to 135. Again, this guy's been playing pretty straightforward. He's an older gentleman, I would say in the neighborhood of 50, mid-50s. Can't really see him pulling off too many bluffs here. He almost always has a 9, so I just can't see him doing anything else here but raise here with a 9, or potentially like jack 9. He's probably slow playing jack 9, but he almost always has a 9 here. And middle position 1 calls. The turn is a deuce of diamonds. So doesn't really help anybody out. It's a brick. There's still a flush draw out there. Now the button goes 150, and M1 decides to call. And now we see a river, and the river, guys, is a deuce of hearts. So not only do 9s here make a boat, but the flush also gets there on the river. But you can't really expect the flush to bet here too often, so if there's a bet that comes out, yeah, I mean, hey, he probably doesn't have a flush here. I think a flush is going to check most of the time. So what happens is Big blind goes 175, and then one goes into our super long tank, and he's thinking probably for like 2 minutes, and he's like, are you doing this with ace jack? And I'm like, ace jack? What? Dude, come on. Like, ace jack, he never has ace jack. Guys, I think we both know he never has ace jack. And yeah, he tanks, and he calls with pocket kings. He just can't let go of kings. And he says, yeah, I couldn't let him go, but I mean, it's pretty obvious that the guy has a 9 there, and yeah, he does roll over queen 9, of course. He loses the hand, but anyway, I know we weren't in that hand, but guys, obviously, if you have kings in a situation like that and you're re-raised by somebody that appears to be super tight, guys, you know you gotta fold the hand. It's pretty easy. Anyways, don't get too married to your big pocket pairs, guys, in a situation like this, especially when it's multi-way. I don't think the guy's going to be re-raising with other than a 9 when there's a whole bunch of other guys in the pot. So let's go on to another hand, and guys, we're kind of getting a little itchy here. We're almost break even. We're actually slightly below break even, so we got to make some money, and we have to put the pedal to the metal in this hand. For this final hand here, we wake up with pretty marginal holding. We're dealt 8-9 offsuit in the big blind, and what happens is E2 limps, M1 limps, M2 limps. The button now goes to 15 bucks, which is super small. This is a younger kid. He's got a beer in front of him, so he's probably out here having a good time. He's got maybe about 150 bucks in front of him, and yeah, I mean, 15 bucks is super weak. Small blind calls, and we definitely decide to throw in the extra 10 bucks and see where our 8-9 takes us, because we're already in the pot. So yeah, why not? We're having a little bit of fun here. I definitely should defend your 8-9, 10-9 type hands here, 7-8, especially these suited connectors. So yeah, when you're in a spot like this, you guys definitely wanna defend your big blind. What's going on? No, you guys go ahead. Yeah, it's all good. So we call the 15 bucks, and everybody else also calls along. What do you know? Super passive 2-5 type Rama game, and yeah, 6 ways to the flop. What are you gonna do? We're pretty much hoping to flop trips or a straight or something like that, 2 pair. I mean, 8-9 with 9 of diamonds, but I don't know. We'll see what comes out of this one. And the flop is 9 Jack 7, and we flop second pair with a gut shot. So it's not the worst flop in the world. We almost have a straight. We got a pair. We could potentially trip up, but we'll see how it goes. Small blind checks, and we check as well, and then everybody else decides to check along. So it checks through right to the turn. Turn is a 5. So now we're double gutter, and I don't know, it's a pretty good spot. If it checks to us, we're definitely going to be betting, but the small blind decides to bet 30 bucks, and it's a little odd because, yeah, we're getting pretty damn good odds here to peel and get a 10 or a 6 that makes us a straight. So we definitely have to call, and we call. E2 also calls along as well. Then everybody else folds. So now it's 3 ways to the river, and the river is a deuce of diamonds. River is a deuce of diamonds. Does not help us, but I think that since we got the 9 of diamonds, there's less diamond combinations for our opponents to have, and I feel like we could totally take charge of this hand. So the small blind checks, and we're most likely going to lose the hand. I think we're most likely going to lose the hand. I think E2 potentially has a hand like a top pair, maybe a weak jack or something like that. So I can't really see him calling down. And obviously small blind does not have a flush because he would have betted himself. So yeah, I think if guys, if we want to take this pot down, we got to bet. So we size up 135 and we put out the 135, verbally announce it, and E2 thinks about it, probably for 20 seconds, and he finally folds the hand. And then small blind snap fold, so yes. We take that one down, guys. We take it down with a bluff. So sometimes, you know, when things kind of don't go your way, you kind of have to make things happen, but you have to kind of think about the hand in a logical fashion and kind of use blockers to your advantage most of the time. I know sometimes like I spew around with random stuff. So all the blockers don't really matter too much when you don't have a large enough sample size versus another player. And especially if you have a good image, I mean, you could go ahead and run a bluff even when you got, I guess, more bluffs in your range than you really should, just because you got a tight image. So use that image, abuse it. And I think more than anything, this rule applies in tournaments because you're probably going to play with these guys for a little bit, and then you're just going to, you know, table breaks, you're going to go to a different table, maybe you bust, maybe some of these guys bust, and chip stacks always fluctuate. By the time you know it, you're going to be short stack. So yeah, I know I'm going off on a little bit of rant here, but yeah guys, definitely use your table image to your advantage, especially if you're a tighter player. And if you're a looser player, yeah, you want to tone it down and pick up some hands, because you guys are probably going to get called a lot lighter. Guys, I'm getting murdered by mosquitoes here, so I'm going to wrap it up. Guys, hopefully you like these hands here. I found them pretty entertaining. I know nothing huge happened. There weren't huge pots, but this is what happens sometimes in a session where you're breaking even and you're not getting too many big hands. You kind of have to swim around a little bit and find your way to a small victory. And if you're breaking even, that's a victory on its own, especially if you're running really bad. And if you're gonna make a comeback or anything like that, yeah, it definitely helps to break even. And you guys have to win the small pots when you can. Definitely fight for them sometimes, most of the time. Anyways, I gotta wrap it up, guys. Like, subscribe, comment below. Definitely like to hear what you guys think, and I want to catch you on the next one. If you guys hit that Taco Bell button, that would be totally awesome. Please click it, and that's gonna send you out alerts whenever new videos come out. Yeah, catch you on the next one, guys. Thanks for watching. See you later. Hey guys, I forgot to mention, shout out to Ali, one of the subs on the vlog. He was out here at Rama grinding it out, having some fun at 1-2, and he was up a crap ton of money. He was up like $600 when we first spoke and ran into each other. So yeah, hopefully you continue to run it up and build that upswing to like $1,000 or something like that. So yeah, good to see you, man.